All right. So, good afternoon and welcome back to today's class. Please, how are we doing?
We are fine.
We are doing good. Oh, we are fine, Chief.
We thank God. So, as usual, we are going to get going. All right. So, since we are all doing great, today's class is not anatomy, physiology, or pathology, but it's public health and health promotion, just as we have scheduled. And today is our lecture two. What I have tried to do is that when you look at the introductory lecture, you realize that lecture two and lecture three, it's something that I've tried to squeeze together and then I've combined it into lecture two in order to, make the um, outline to be 9 lecture periods, just as we have in our semester calendar. Okay. In our semester calendar, we are supposed to have 9 lecture periods, 2 interim assessments, 1 mid-sem or 1 week for mid-sem, and then 1 week for revision, and then 3 weeks for exam period. So we would have to squeeze ourselves within the 9 weeks. Okay, so even though it's 2 lectures that are combined together, I will still finish quite early because it is quite straightforward. Okay, so what are we going to look at for today in public health and health promotion? Public health and health promotion. So we are going to consider one, the principles of public health. Okay, we are going to look at the principles of public health. Secondly, we are going to also look at the principles of naturopathy or naturopathic medicine. So we look at public health, we look at its principles, we look at naturopathy, we look at its principles. I know you know the principles. Yeah. So we are going to do these things, and then thirdly, we'll try and then consider the relationship that exists between naturopathy and public health, especially when we consider their principles. Okay, especially when we consider the principles. After that, we shall outline major public health achievements, especially in the contemporary era. Okay, we shall look at some of the major public health achievements that we have, and then identify the importance of public health in reducing disease burden. We shall identify the importance of public health in reducing disease burden. So we'll look at the general concept of what burden of disease or disease burden is all about. And then we shall explore a lot of things in there. Perhaps that will take some of our time. Then we'll finally look at the role of public health in disease prevention and control. The role of public health in disease prevention and control. Okay, so essentially, this is what we are going to look at. Okay, this is what we are going to look at. Now, when we are done, because this is a second lecture, because this is a second, sorry, this is a second week. Okay. Oh, Mr. Glenn, this. Okay. So because this is a second week, I am going to, when we are done, I would make time for us to share some of our general views of how our meetings are going, and if there's any changes we have to do. Okay, I just want an assessment of what I'm doing with you, whether it is well, where there are weaknesses, where we can correct. We are generally going to do some appraisals. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So hurry up. Okay, thank you. So that is what we are going to do. So I'm hoping that by 5 o'clock we should be done with that, and then we can reserve some 15 minutes to look at some of the things that we can encourage, some of the things that we can change. Okay, so that we can all become very comfortable moving forward. Okay, so this is the outline generally. So let's get the ball rolling. Naturopathic medicine. Okay, now you know that there are various systems of medical care or health care. Okay, in fact, had it not been that the West is trying to overshadow us, I would have said that there are essentially two. We have traditional systems of healthcare, and we have alternative systems of healthcare. Every region, every territory, that is how it should be. That is how it is. Except that the West have, because they have power, they have money, they have resources, they've pushed an agenda, and then their traditional system of medicine, that is the conventional medicine, they've been able to push it through a lot of territories to become the main medical system. Other than that, we have traditional system and we have alternative. When you come to Africa, especially in Ghana, our traditional medicine is herbal. Okay, our traditional medicine is herbal medicine. Any other systems of medicine should have been considered alternative. So naturopathy is alternative, homeopathy is alternative, TCM is alternative, and then even conventional medicine should have been considered alternative because it is not our traditional medicine. Okay, but you know, wherever powerful people are, wherever resourced individuals are, they try to change the narrative, and that is how it is. So we have systems of medicine: traditional, alternative, and conventional. Now we take it like that. Now, these three systems that we have, they sometimes employ certain, they do not really consider the main system of medicine. Okay, they do not really consider the main system of medicine, but they look into some traditional systems of medicine and pick the ones that are relevant for them, and they attach it to their practice. And for that matter, that one becomes complementary. Okay, so for example, if in Ghana here, we have Kolebu Teaching Hospital, we have a hospital that is established, and they come in and say, look, naturopathic medicine, you guys are studying something called massage therapy. So massage therapy, I've seen that it is good. So come and then help this, our system of practice. Then your massage therapy service you are going to render there now becomes complementary. Okay, it becomes complementary to the system of medical practice they are doing there. Okay, so we have traditional, we have alternative, and we have those who have changed the narrative to include conventional medicine, and then eventually have complementary. Okay, so that is how systems are. Also, we have snippets of therapeutic interventions. Okay, therapeutic intervention. These are not medical systems. These are not medical practices. These are not established, okay, healthcare systems, but they are practices within the healthcare systems that we can consider. For example, naturopaths study herbal medicine, they study traditional Chinese medicine, they study homeopathic medicine, they study clinical nutrition, they study clinical naturopathy, and all of them. So these practices, these courses, these practices within the overall architecture of naturopathy now becomes how do you call it? Various therapeutic systems, various therapies that we have in the healing system, that particular system. So that is what we have. So one person can say, look, I have graduated as a naturopath, just as all of you have. Okay, you've graduated as naturopath. And once you have graduated as naturopath, you can decide to say, well, I learned clinical naturopathy, so I want to just go and practice that. And you are fine to go. Okay, you are fine to go. Someone say, I mean, I learned you have now come to rather get a grasp of the healing system, the medical healthcare system called naturopathy. Okay, and so this is what we are doing now. Naturopathy, as you all know, we are not defined, and let me put it this way: any medical or healthcare system, any healing system, they are usually not defined by the substances that are used in treatment. No, they are rather defined by the principles that underlies the practice. Okay, they are usually defined by the principles that underlie the practice. Let me explain this. For example, naturopathy, as you see, we have our principles, and I know by this time you may have gone through it. We know our principles. So we can look into every healing system in the world, and then with our principles as a spectacle, we can go in and then fetch the ones that are relevant for our practice, as long as they can be defined by our principles. Okay, for example, one of their principles is first, do no harm. First, do no harm. We can use that spectacle to go into conventional medicine. Okay, to go into conventional medicine. And we go into conventional medicine and we look at one of their practices called radiotherapy. Now we read all the research articles concerning radiotherapy, and then our principle states first, do no harm. But what is going to happen is that we are going to do harm, and so we refrain from that. Okay, so we are not defined by our substances we use, but by our principles. Okay, so wherever we have medical systems, wherever we have healing systems, whatever is consistent with our principles, we adopt them and then we use them. That is what is happening. That is naturopathy. Okay, so it is an art, science, philosophy, and practice of diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of disease. It is a whole system on its own. Many individuals have not understand naturopathy well. So by and by, as we are moving forward, it shall be made very clear, it shall be made very plain for everyone to see. Not until around the 1920s, 1930s, that conventional medicine really took a center stage, especially when they began isolating bioactive substances from plants and other things. Okay, other than that, if you were a physician, you were a naturopath. If you were a physician, you were a homeopath. Okay, that was how the system was until the healing miracle substances came to play, with the discovery of penicillin and all that came to play, and then by and by people began to recognize naturopath as colloquial. Forgive my word. So that is how it is. Okay. Now let's look at the principles of naturopathic medicine. Principles of naturopathic medicine. Yeah, Kwaleyaba. Principles of naturopathic medicine. Okay. The first, okay, is the healing power of nature. The healing power of nature. Okay. The second is to treat the cause. The second is to treat the cause. In fact, they are not arranged in a special order. Okay. So we have the healing power of nature. Treat the cause. Do no harm, or first do no harm. Then we have treat the whole person. So we don't isolate. Hey, the person will come and say, my waist is paining me. Then we go and do X-ray. You identify spondylosis. Then you are focusing on spondylosis. We don't do it like that way. Even though you have to do something about the spondylosis, you still have to go whole person. How is his life? His sitting pattern? Does he drive a lot? How is his sleeping pattern? How is your mattress you sleep on? I'll say all these things come to play. You have to teach the person ergonomics. I think I'll be taking you when you are level 400 in therapeutic exercise. You shall learn ergonomics. There are a lot of things, okay, that goes into treating the person holistically. Okay. We have other principles as prevention, doctor as a teacher, wellness and well-being. All these things come together to define us. Okay, to define us. Okay, so that is naturopathy. Now let's look at public health. So what we are essentially doing is that, good afternoon, how are you? So we are done with naturopathy. What we are trying to do is to try and then link naturopathy to public health for us to grasp, to understand the concept why we are studying public health in naturopathic medicine. Okay, so now we are done with the principles of naturopathy. Let's come to public health. We are saying that the field of public health covers one, prevention of disease. Prevention of disease. Okay, and then two, promoting health through organized efforts, informed choices of society, organizations, public and private communities, and individuals. Okay, so what goes into public health is one, to prevent disease, and two, to promote health in a community or population level. Okay, now when you look at public health and when you look at naturopathy, our principles. Okay, you let me go this way. Now let's look at, now that we've seen public health, now let's look at the shared principles of naturopathic medicine and public health. Okay, naturopathic medicine and public health. What are the principles which we have in common? Now, in both disciplines, the focus is on health rather than disease. The focus is on health rather than disease. Let me explain. In the biomedical model, those who practice typical allopathic medicine, conventional medicine, because they practice purely the biomedical model, their focus is on disease. So just as we began explaining in the earlier stages of public health, when you go to the doctor and you tell the doctor of your illness, the doctor should be able to establish your illness within the tenets of biomedical principles. Okay, so for example, all that you are explaining, the doctor does his differentials. In his mind, he's suspecting 3 or 4 disease conditions, right? Labs or scans or whatever. Okay, and then all these things do not show what he was thinking. Then it is obvious that the doctor will say, well, To us, we don't find you sick, even though you are sick. All right. To us, we did not find you sick, even though you are sick. Okay. And these are the people who are labeled malingers. Okay. They are labeled malingers. You are complaining of something, the doctor does not say anything. Okay. So that is how it is. But on public health, or in public health and naturopathy, our focus is on health. Okay. So even though the person is presenting with disease, even when we have not been established by our convention, the disease pattern, what is actually causing it, we are going to go into a lot of things, a lot of areas. Okay, his social structure, his interpersonal relationship, his professional life, his financial life, based on what World Health Organization says. It says even your economic situation can push you into ill health. Okay, and so we look at all these things. We look at the person holistically, and sometimes even with the disease condition you are trying to look at, sometimes it may not even be drugs. It may not even be drugs. It may simply be correcting the person's eating pattern, okay, or trying to educate the person on stress reduction mechanism, and then you solve the problem. Okay, so we are looking at holistically what an individual is supposed to have, and whilst we focus on health, other disciplines focus on disease. Secondly, our emphasis is on health promotion, health education, and patient empowerment. Both public health and naturopathy, we focus on health promotion, health education, and patient empowerment. Okay, so when a patient comes to you, complains of something, stomach ulcer, as for that one, the medication is there. You give medication, the person goes and brings it, comes to do review, the person's okay, bye-bye. Well, you are employing only the biomedical model. Even though you are practicing herbal medicine or something, you are only employing biomedical model. You have to coach the person. You have to educate the person on what stomach ulcer is or peptic ulcer is. And when you are done, the patient should at least, as much as possible, except with negligence, the patient shouldn't come to you again or report anywhere again of stomach ulcer or peptic ulcer if only you were able to treat it. Because the person would have become conscious of whatever brings or contributes to peptic ulcer. And sometimes you have to even go the step further to educate the patient on first aid. If the person sees these signs or symptoms, this is the first thing the person can do. Okay, so once you are able to do that, then you are empowering the patient to take charge, take control of his or her health. And that is what we are supposed to do. But when the patient comes and then you give medication, you don't educate, because you are waiting that the patient will come to you again with another ulcer so that you give the same medication and you get more money. I don't think that is that you are really, really practicing genuine naturopathy, and put it that way. Okay. Then so we consider health promotion in churches, in focus groups, in wherever we find ourselves in our family, wherever we have to talk about health promotion concept and all of them. We have to educate the public. We have to empower patients. All these things we have to do. It is not always that the medicine you have, the plant you have discovered that it is able to treat a condition. It is not always that you have to hold it to your chest. Bruh, you will die and go away. You will die and go away without helping humanity. Sometimes give plant. It is by the grace of God that you have become enlightened to know what it does. Teach others so that they can know. because the disease conditions we are facing these days, you can't do a lot. You can't do a lot. You get it? So teach, help your patient. Sometimes your word, your education can deliver someone from death that the person was going to face in 3 years' time. It may have developed the patient. It's not necessarily the patient must come to you. You watch on television, sometimes I look, I laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. Come to me. I having this. Come to me. They don't teach anything. Always come to me. I have this. Always come to me. Look, it is God who heals. So for us, what we do. So let me even put it there. Finally, one of the shared principles of naturopathy and public health is to prevent or preventive and proactive rather than reactive. Okay, rather than reactive. We are more into preventive and being proactive. Just as I was saying, okay, try as much as possible to educate. Tell them, look, even if he has to go to the extent of teaching our food, our clinical and nutrition, he has to go to the extent of teaching plants that are readily available for persons to get hold of. Why don't you do it? We are preventive and proactive more than reactive. We don't wait for the thing to happen before we tell you that come to me. I have a medication for you. Come to me. I have medication for you. Come to me. I have medication for you. Yes, I know. It becomes something else. Okay. So that is the shared principles between public health and naturopathy. Now, at this point, is there any question for me? Okay, let me finish this part so that we can come in with any question. Sure. So we are saying that contemporary public health focuses on being more proactive rather than reactive healthcare. And so you see public health, nowadays public health is not like first. At first, when town councils were really town council, what we call tankers. When you see them coming, sometimes you have to go 100 meters so that you get home first and go and check your barrel, because they are coming to inspect your barrel that you put water in, whether you have algae under it, and then they will charge you to pay something. So once you hear them coming, trouble for you. If they come and see filth or choke gutters, and you are in trouble. But today that knowledge has improved, knowledge has advanced. Look at where we are. Okay, so it's really worrying. Okay, someone is selling in the market, someone is selling at the home or staying at the home. The gutter is choked that the person doesn't wake up one day so that it will prick the mind that, look, this gutter in front of me, I have to get the filth out. No, they are waiting for government of Ghana to bring money so that they can bring money to the MC, so that MC will contract others to come and do the filthing, and then it will come to the MC, and the MC will get people to come and do it for 100 Ghana, and the MC will go and report in his books 300 Ghana that we use. This is Africa. Okay, so that is what it is. It focuses on being proactive. It focuses on being preventive. It focuses on education, and it is multidisciplinary in nature. Okay, it is multidisciplinary in nature. What are they? Come. Let me read it for you. Come in. Stay there. So, okay. 1 minute. Come. Close the door. Okay, so yes, so it is multidisciplinary in nature. Okay, it considered all healthcare tools, all healthcare practitioners in one model, and then they get on board. So, I mean, these days, knowledge has really, really improved, though. But because when you see the curricula that public health, this one they go through, and even the branches, it's not easy. But these days, we wait for the outbreak to come, we wait for the disease to come, and then it becomes something else. But these days, they are doing well. They are doing well, though. I understand open defecation has drastically reduced in our books. I don't know how true it is, but it is. So both public health and naturopathic medicine are complex systems that embrace rather than dissect the multifactorial contributions to health. Okay, so this is the shared principles we have between public health and naturopathic medicine. At this point, any question, suggestion, contribution? Yes,
Hello, sir.
Mr. Peter. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I hope you are doing better.
By God's grace.
My question go with to teach them in the public. But if you now record for some of herbal medicine, somebody was standing in the bush, the leaves, and he talk about the leaves, how things that can treat. But my reservation that most of people try their method. Some people, yesterday, somebody came to me, the same thing happened to him. And the moment that they rushed him to go to the hospital, the way the doctor had put in fear onto the person about not taking any herbal medicine again. In fact, I stayed with him more than 2 hours, convinced him, clear is that motion about that, but don't try next time for if somebody is starting in the social media for talking about any leaves, you must have a cautious, because how to prepare it is be a problem. So talk to the person in that way. Is it not bring the problem between the orthodox and the herbal medicine, sir?
Okay, that's a great question. You see, the truth of the matter is that herbal medicine, we are really trying to soil ourselves. Why am I saying this? Someone stays with his great-grandfather. The great-grandfather is a traditional herbalist, or maybe, knows herbs. This great-grandfather helped the community a lot. The grandchild has grown and is observing the great-grandfather. Because these days, money matters. The youth, by the time the youth is 30 years, he wants to have his own mansion. He wants to have his own Lamborghini. He wants to have his own Infinity. He wants to have his own whatever, so that he can be changing women from here to here, here to here, here to here. And so he wants to monetize the knowledge, the little knowledge he had from his great-grandfather. What happens is that this person who has now come into the system wants to say everything possible to convince the populace that he has a medication that works. Now, this is where the problem comes in trying to explain why this medication works in a certain manner. He or she does not go according to scientific principles, according to well-established research work. And so the person comes and says something without any proof whatsoever. And someone who have been trained in biomedical setting, biomedical model, has gone to school for 6+ years, have been trained on how to establish his thinking, his reasoning based on researched, well-researched scientific principles, cannot accept what you say. In fact, there was a time I was watching somewhere, someone says he has a medication for gonorrhea, and that, you know, when you do not treat, no, it has medication for hepatitis B, and that if you don't treat hepatitis B for a longer time, it will give you gonorrhea. Then the doctor who has been trained in the biomedical, this one, will sit down and then be watching and says, no, this person, you cannot be trusted. You can't entrust human life to this person. You can't entrust human life to this person. So me, if I put yourself in the doctor's shoe, if I am the doctor, what I would tell my client is never to pay attention to you. Okay, but one thing is certain. The problem is not the medication the person is having. The medication works. No two ways about it. The problem is how the person is positioning himself within the public domain. Sometimes you get into cars and people come. One medication can treat every disease. In fact, the person can look at you and then you immediately, if you have any problem on your body, that one will also come on board into his medication treatment. Okay, so we have principle, we have challenge here, and that is how come we are getting our knowledge. So when you meet persons of this nature, of this stature, of this caliber, what you have to do is that you have to reason with them clinically based on scientific principles. So you are telling the person that, look, this particular herb or this particular food you are eating, research is saying that this is what research is saying. When you put this across and the doctor comes to see it, the doctor, believe you me, the doctor will learn from you. The doctor is going to learn from you when you are able to prove to him scientifically. And that is how come we deal with them. That is how we deal with them. That is how we deal with them. Okay, so you don't just say anything for the doctor to believe. No. And even we, by the time you are done with school, if we are able to stay on course and learn properly, you will begin to have a certain sense about people who try to, explain their some health conditions in a way that is not scientific. You begin to have a certain way you see them. Believe you me. Okay, so that is how it is. I believe that as we are going on, we can come out with the right education, and then doctors will come to us. Now, trained medical herbalists, trained alternative medical practitioners like you and I. Now the doctors are saying, let's do collaboration. Why are they now saying that? They are now saying, let's do collaboration. No, it is not me. It is some of the this one that is going on. One consultant was saying that, look, when it comes to breast cancer, the time has come for us to do collaboration with the trained herbal practitioners or trained alternative medical practitioners. So it is now coming out clear, but it will never be possible for him to go and see the one who has one medication for typhoid, ulcer, what, and even the person cannot prove. That one, it will not happen. So that is that. Sometimes when you put yourself in their shoes, you can understand it from this angle. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Madam Ingrid.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that, the presentation so far. And I'm particularly thankful for your opinion, your view that the alternative medicine is what is not the traditional medicine. It happens to be what I also think. So it's in line. I am thankful for that view. Now, the gentleman that spoke just now touched on something I wanted to raise about how to speak with people about the convention, the conventional medicine, because the doctors, please forgive me if I'm not, I stand corrected, because I do have family who are doctors. I have a cousin who is an oncologist, and she does lectures at one of the largest universities in New York.
Okay.
But if you bring anything to her about herbalism, she wants to burst a blood vessel. However, uh, we both share grandparents, one grandaunt, she was able to heal anyone of anything based on her knowledge. She wasn't trained in anything to our knowledge. And she used to go and dream. She used to go, and if you tell her what is wrong, she will tell you, okay, come back the next day. And she says, well, she just dreams what thing to give you. Now, I'm not saying that that is what we are to propose now, because times have changed clearly. However, believe I'm not sure that the only way is for knowledge of bridging the traditional to the orthodox is by going to school, because we know a lot of all the older people are not educated in the way that we have in school. Let me say school, not educated. And so it's just my thing. I wish I had sat down with my great grandaunt. She's late now, but I have learned a lot of things that I personally have been able to apply to other people, to people who had the big C and no longer have the big C. And I'm not the only person. And I do research, and it's one of the reasons why I'm doing the course that I'm doing now, so that I can speak to the scientific methodologies. But I'm just saying that education, giving as much information as possible, so that the person can personally make a decision on their own, because the doctors do breathe fear into you. But my cousin, if I listen to my cousin, if any but of the people I have dealt with listen to my cousin, they would run away from me. And I don't chase people. I really don't. My style is to just tell you, give you information. And based on that information, if you feel like dealing with me, then fine. And I'm very, very confident of the things that I do, very confident. So I just want to learn how to apply the science to it. So I just, that's my thought. And I'm glad that you opened the door to, or you opened the thought that of what is medicine really, because it's my belief. Herbs, the healing of the nation, and it's not just herbs. There are other things as well, as you say, the complementary, the breathing, the massages, all sorts of things that we don't even know now. Because how did they breathe before and find how did they know what leaves to use? So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you are 100% right. You know that before we come to Mr. Emmanuel, you know that how did even persons come to do research to establish certain facts? Sometimes how knowledge came through, God has a way of doing, just as you say, someone will dream and the thing will come clear. The person will apply it and it works. Now, all that we now have to do is that if something is working already, we only have to go and establish scientifically how it works. What we have to do to make it, you see. So I take 3 leaves. If it is 3 leaves, I take what is the quantity of alcohol? What is the quantity of water that you take? What is the quantity of this? So once we are able to go through this research and then establish that, if you really want to get a clear your typhoid fever, you have to get these plants, you have to get this part of the plant, you have to get this because it contains this, because it contains that, add it to this, do it to this, 3 times a day, 2 times a week, whatever it is. then you establish it. Then it becomes something that someone in India will try that concept, it will work. Someone in Germany will try it will work. Someone in Ghana will try it will work. Then it becomes established. That is how scientific research is. So we hypothesize, okay, we try and then extrapolate, we try and then say something and then try and test it whether it is true or not. And that is how it is. Most of us here know certain plant, know certain mechanism of treating some condition. Okay, it may not be a well-documented research today, but one day, you can bring your own concept into a research. You can design a research work for it and establish it, and then you are gone. That is how we are helping humanity. Okay, and I believe that by and by, we are going to get there. Yeah. Mr. Emmanuel. Yeah, Mr. Emmanuel, your hand is up.
Oh, sir, please, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I just want to share an experience that I had once, because we are talking about education and learning. Okay, so we have this product in my company. It's a stem cell product with some ingredients, and then one of our people advertised it online, or someone approached the person and said, "Can it treat cancer?" Even though we had advised them not to be using those words per FDA rules, the person said, "Oh yes, it can treat." So let me say the task force of FDA arrested the person, they took the person to their office. So my boss just called and said, like, Dr. Kibi, you are around that. Be fast, just get to FDA. Someone is in trouble, is having a problem. And I said, okay. So I went there, and then I went to meet, all of them, they were just sitting there waiting for me. So when I read it, I took my time, and then I started picking each ingredient. I told them, okay, we are not going to rush with this discussion. Let us all read together. So goji berry, let's read goji berry and then cancer treatment. Then it started showing laboratory tests that have shown that goji berry has some ingredients or some active components that inhibit cancer reduction, anti-cancer properties. Then we move to black seed powder. Then we did about 4 of that. Then the man said, then all these things you are saying, I think I also even need one of these products. Then you all started laughing. People that had come to arrest me, now after all the education, they want to understand that. I told them he is not entirely wrong. Yes, even though the rules of FDA says you cannot give a treat or cure for food supplements, this person is not entirely wrong, because these are research that are in the public domain that you and I can read, and these research show that they have anti-cancer properties. Now, when I say something has anti-cancer properties, what does it mean? It means it can stop me from having cancer or help me to come out of it, and even explain other ones that you boost chemotherapy. So after doing all that, like goji berry like this, also even enhances the effect of chemotherapy. So after reading and telling them all these things, then they said, okay, I think you have really convinced us. Then one of the guys said, can you give me your number? I think I want one. After that, they asked me to go and see their head of pharmacy. Lo and behold, I went there, and because this is online, he was a friend of mine. Like one of them used the word, a very good friend of mine. He was like, Dr. Kibi, they don't even know you. And then we talked that time and said, oh, Master, you can go. So it was all because of the education. My client was set free. Even though when I went, I didn't introduce myself as a doctor. I just went as a normal company manager. I told them I'm the manager, so I'm just coming to speak or explain something. And after that, they got to understand just because of the explanation and the research that I backed with it. So if you have all those knowledge and you are communicating, it makes other people who may even be in the biomedical science field understand you better and will even opt to work with you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So that, you see, he was able to prove based on existing research. And that is what we have all agreed that we are going as scientific principles. And you are good to go. Yeah, that is what we are looking for. Mr. Ima, I think I have to Emmanuel. So, Mr. Ima.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's go.
Oh. I'm good. Okay.
Thank you so much. Actually, I'm so impressed about your presentation.
And I love the way you are always encouraging us. What I can say, I just continue encouraging us. Like what my friend doctor said. Sometimes, though I'm a bishop, I'm a pastor, people comes with different diverse of sicknesses and problems.
Yeah.
And sometimes I will just pray and I'll have a revelation inside. God will just show me, go and take this and this and this and apply it. And eventually, when I apply it, it works. But because I was not having this science background, I don't have this knowledge about it. So sometimes I felt little nervous about it. So I thank you so much that now that you have even encouraged us that we should add scientific methodology into it.
Yeah.
I hope that I will do that and eventually it will produce results, because somebody was having a hole in heart and he went to these authorized hospitals and it was impossible. He came to church, we prayed for him, and I had a dream that God said, go and take this, go and take this. The common plug God showed me was this time here. And with one or two things, we apply it and it works. Now the child is recovered. Glory be to God. But I did not have the scientific knowledge about it. So now that I've understood that I should do research and have the scientific knowledge about it, I hope that eventually I'll go forward in life. So thank you so much for such a wonderful presentation and always encouraging us. Keep us encouraging us. And when it is well with you, we'll never forget about you.
Amen. Yeah, so you see, this is one way. And in fact, I would say that, in fact, in your class, you are even blessed. The reason why I'm saying you are blessed is that as a class, someone has a revelation of a plant. Now you know the disease the person is presenting with. You have a vision, a revelation that go for this plant. You go for that plant, you apply it. So you've done your research. The plant you used, how you used it, and the progression, the rate at which the disease was going. All these things, you document them. One day, you come and do your project work. You will say, I'm doing this. Then you go and take existing knowledge on that plant, and then you infuse yours. Bam! You've done your project work. You are gone. This is how it is done. This is how it is done. Okay. And it is not too difficult. It's just that because we want to use one language everywhere in the world so that we don't try and then mess up. If we were to teach in our local dialect in KUB, like we are done. But because we want to use one language everywhere in the world, and that is how come sometimes it becomes difficult. But we shall get there eventually. We shall get there eventually. Okay. So that is how it is. And thank you all for your contribution. Yeah. So if there are no suggestion, contribution, then I think we can move on now. Now, the next step we are going to is to now focus on public health, as we are trying to look at we are trying to compare their principles. We are also looking at their architecture, their natural design, okay, to blend, how they complement each other and all of them, okay. Naturopathy is such a broad system of medical practice. And I am not surprised at all that in advanced countries, it is taken as a doctorate course. When you go to US, just as some of our sisters and our brothers are there, you come to realize that most of the universities, okay, would actually consider that as a doctorate course. So you would have to come with a BSc in any health-related course program and then do that, okay. So that is how it is done. Now, in public health, you know that traditionally the traditional focus of public health is on population level. Okay, it's on population level rather than individual level. Naturopathy, we will do most of our, consultation. You'll be seeing things, you'll be hearing things. Sometimes some of the things will make you like laugh, some of the things will make you like cry, some of the things will make you like be who you are, and like that. Okay, so we do it at the individual level, but because of the nature of our practice, we also must go the population level, and that is how can we hold on to public health, because public health does it at the population level, either in the communities, in churches, focus groups, wherever they get individuals situated at a particular place, they go and do their education. Okay, then we are saying that historically, the improvement in population level health outcomes came from improvement in general hygiene, just as such as sanitation, hand washing, okay, and all of them. It also came from reductions in infectious diseases through vaccination and surveillance programs, like we currently did in 2020. They will say contact tracing. Okay, so you trace contact, trace contact, and then all of them. Okay, and it also came from general improvement in environmental health. So we really were able to get health outcomes through these dimensions, these domains. Okay, general hygiene, infectious disease reduction, and then general improvement in environmental health. Okay, but these days knowledge has increased. Knowledge is still increasing, but we have problem. So public health also focuses, or still is focusing on what? A focus on important aspect of public health, particularly in nations where infrastructure development is still underway. Maybe Ghana, I will say we've climbed a certain step, because first our road network were not that but these days I think it's better. I mean, our major roads, you hardly see dust and all of them in these things. But I mean, although we still have a long way to go, we are progressing. Okay, so that is public health. Generally, traditional focus is on population level, and then you know that some of these achievements actually came through improvement in general hygiene, infectious disease reductions, and then environmental health considerations and all of them. Okay, so now let's look at modern health challenges of 21st century. When you read a lot of articles concerning the evolutionary pattern of modern health, you are going to come across a lot of articles that were actually talking about the way infectious diseases were actually a nightmare for persons who lived in the 17th and 16th century. It was a nightmare. Okay, they were not really bothered about the challenges we are facing today. Theirs was what? Infectious diseases. But today we have been able to leapfrog on infectious diseases, and our problem now is chronic diseases and obesity, especially with lifestyle. Today, obesity. Nowadays, when I'm sitting in a car, there's only one thing I look at. First, in my village, I'm a typical villager. I'm a village boy. Okay, I was not born in the city. I'm a typical village boy. In the villages, when you see a woman with big abdomen, the woman is pregnant. When you see a man with big abdomen, the man has money and perhaps he's taking alcohol. But today, what are we seeing? If you take 100 women, the abdomen, about 98 of them are pregnant, virtual pregnancy. This is virtual pregnancy. Okay, and you seem not to understand. Okay, you seem not to understand what is happening. Almost. Okay, and it is worrying. Now the problem is not even about general obesity, your entire being. It's abdominal obesity. You know that they have now, World Health Organization have brought a certain anthropometric measurement called now, to be obese, you don't have to stand on scale and then they measure you and then you are more than 26. How do they call that crap? I've forgotten.
BMI.
BMI. Now you don't have to go and stand on the calculate your height on your weight. They just mention your waist to hip ratio. And if it is more than a certain degree, then you have abdominal obesity. Once you have abdominal obesity, you are prone to a lot of the disease conditions that we are going to talk about, or we have in the system. Okay. So this is the problem we are facing modern days. And we are saying that chronic diseases are now the leading cause of disease burden and morbidity internationally, with the leading underlying actual causes of death all being modifiable health behaviors. They are modifiable. There is something we can do about it. This is not genetics that we can't do anything about. All the disease conditions that are sending people to their early grave, that is reducing, that is increasing morbidity and then increasing disease burden, are modifiable health behaviors such as the use of tobacco, poor dietary pattern, physical inactivity. And this is the problem. God, in his wisdom, forgive me, research is saying that when you are in your teens all the way to your youth, you are, the energy that stays within you. In fact, Chinese medicine will say the fire that is within you is top notch, and you have to use this fire to do more exercises. But the youth of 35 years wants to Lamborghini, so from home, air conditioned, funyanya. From home now he steps into his air-conditioned car, funyanya. Drive to work and enters the workplace, funyanya. Sits there and do consultation for 8 hours, 9 hours. From there now he comes to the this one, car, funyanya. Stays in traffic for about 2 hours, funyanya. He comes home and then, this is physical inactivity. This is sedentary lifestyle. And this is contributing to a lot of the diseases that we are having. Okay, a lot of the diseases. I'm not saying owning this one is not good though. In fact, it is good. It makes you very, very easy in this one. But you have to know how to blend this lifestyle and then eliminate as much as possible or reduce as much as possible physical inactivity. Okay, so most of the diseases we are having, in fact, when you look at World Health Organization, the top 10 diseases that sent individuals away in 2025, I don't think 2025, okay, 2024. A lot of them were things that we can do something about. Okay, a lot of them were things that we could do something about, but hey, it sent them to the early grave. Okay, and it is quite worrying. It's quite worrying. Now, we are saying that for we naturopathic medical physicians, we practitioners in the alternative medicine, what is happening in the era of modernity can serve as an opportunity for you and me. Okay, and how, when we say opportunity, what does it mean? In fact, we are not talking about monetizing the knowledge you are getting. I know that people are really aggressive to get money through the knowledge, but it's fine. But if you get someone who has money and then you are taking, fine, but you are going to meet poor people too, and you have to do what God requires you to do. Okay, so all these things are there. I remember some time ago, I was praying about that the Lord should give me a vision of kidney failure, the disease, any herb or plant or something that we can use to treat. I didn't say anything, because that time, if God had given it to me, I would have monetized it, and by now I would have built mansions, plenty mansions. So I think God saw my mind and then decided that no, this boy, if I give it to him, he's going to do certain things. So let me reserve it. Okay, so that is how it is. But I mean, for God, and you have to, as you are seeing, getting money for your daily upkeep, you have to also consider there are some people their situation. Okay, so how is the challenge of modernity an opportunity for we naturopathic medical practitioners? We are saying that practitioners can apply patient-centered naturopathic principles at a community or population level and apply public health priorities at an individual level. What we are saying is that you, the naturopathic physician, who is doing counseling, you may not be able to go see where the person is staying and reach out to that person's community and educate. But the person has come before you. Okay, so what can you do? You can apply the principles of public health in an individual level. Okay, and what do we do in public health? This one, we promote health, we educate, okay, we empower. So after you going through all your this one with the person, try and then educate the person. Okay, try and educate the person, empower the patient that look, if you're able to do this, there's a likelihood that this disease condition you may be far from it, okay, for a longer time. If you're able to take this out of your food, add this to your food. If you're able to go this way in your community, take this way. Okay, if you're able to educate properly, okay, whatever it is, something may enter the ear. There are some people, they will not listen to you. That is fine. They will not listen. They are on their highway to death. That one is, you can't do anything about it. But do your honest part. Once you do your honest part by educating, it is up to the patient to take or leave it. Okay. Then we say naturopathic physicians focus on individual behavior. Okay, individual behavior change through the clinical delivery of health promotion counseling and by modeling health behaviors themselves. When I began this field, I am here to come across any individual who will say, or you pose the question, how is your meat intake? The reply you are going to get is that, oh, doctor, I don't take meat. I am here to come across someone who admit that for me, dear, I really do justice to it. Unless you want to, throw an open-ended question. Okay, so they don't admit. Patients, there's a theory that patients are always on truth. They don't really speak the truth because it knows that if you speak the truth, you are going to lambast him or her. Okay, and then they try to hide a little behind it. So you try and then encourage. In the back of your mind, you educate the person, knowing that the person is not telling you the truth. Okay, so we focus on individual behavior change. Okay, individual behavior change, and then the person will be fine. The person will be fine. It's not always manual. No, I don't believe that. It's not always money. Okay, another thing is that health promotion counseling on diet, physical activity, and stress management is incorporated into almost every clinical encounter and is reinforced over successive patient visits in naturopathic practice. This was a research work that naturopath health promotion counseling on diet, on physical activity, on stress management. Okay, these are incorporated into almost every clinical encounter. So you don't just leave the patient alone to come and take medicine and go. These things must come in. Now they are saying that low rate of health promotion in conventional care, and it is true. And they even gave it, okay, they gave it less than 35. Maybe I would have given it 10. Because where on earth are you going to get the time to engage in health promotion concept in allopathic setting? You don't have the time. The people are sitting there, about 50, 100, and all of them are waiting for their turn. As the door to the counseling room is open, everyone pulls the neck, ready to see if the doctor is going to call him. It is there. The maximum time they spend on even a patient in this one is around 10 or 15 minutes. Even that sometimes it doesn't even reach. And then you are off the chair and you are going to do your scan or lab and bring. Okay, so There's no time to do health promotion. There's no time to do health promotion in a lot of the conventional settings. But as naturopath, you have to do. If you are going to really believe, if you really to want to become a naturopath, then you know that you are going to spend an average of 45 to 1 hour on each patient. On each patient. And you can't do the work alone. So share knowledge. Let everyone be involved. Okay. So that is that for the opportunities that we naturopaths we have, because we have public health challenges. Before we move on, any question for me? Suggestion, contribution? Okay. Okay, so it means it's going. Now let's go to major public health achievements we've gotten in the past century. Okay, major public health achievements. You know, ever since our focus came on public health, there are some achievements that we have been able to chop. These achievements wallow around and encompasses working conditions. Okay, some working conditions we've been able to achieve some this one. Health and safety legislations. Introduction of legislation to reduce pollutants. There have been some achievement there. Food safety to improve sanitation and hygiene practices. Yes, so the establishment of FDA around the globe. Fluoridation of water has also contributed to enhanced health. Okay, let me move on. I have a different view of that. Then we have improvement in standards of living, diet, access to healthcare. These are 100% true. Okay, these are 100% true. So let's look at, yes, there are vaccinations to reduce epidemic diseases. That is 100% true. Now, a lot of disease conditions, tuberculosis, poliomyelitis, and all of them, there are vaccinations for them, and then we are, yeah. Oh, okay, you two differ. Yeah, I have a differing view on that. Yeah. So there are improved motor vehicle safety. Nowadays we have Ghana MTTD. So collect your money, you realize that you are in a certain country. Okay. Then control of infectious diseases. That is true. Improvement in maternal and child health. These days, maternal mortality is really at a rate that I think we are appreciative of. Yeah. Then we have improvement in reproductive health and family planning. This is true. Nowadays, I remember my village there. Someone can give birth to 10, 8, 9, 10, one person. Then, if you are not lucky, 10 of you struggle. Then one person can become a doctor. And the rest of you, one will become a shushan, one will become a farmer, one will become a this one. It's not easy. But these days, we have improved in this one, family planning. Okay. Even if you don't want to go the hormonal way, you can go now. Now we are able to do calculation. We are able to do calculation. And the irony of it is that the day you know it is the most dangerous, this one, that is the day that your waist will be worrying you the more. It's not easy. This is what that we are. Okay. Then we have technological advances in detecting and monitoring infectious diseases. That is very true. Nowadays, it is really, really advanced. Infectious diseases, they are able to, detect the virus, the bacteria. They are able to know their virulence patterns, and they are doing so well. Now, let's look at 10 great public health achievements worldwide between the period of 2001 and 2010. between 2001 and 2010. Okay, we are saying that we have reductions in child mortality. Okay, below the age of 5. Hey, gone are the days that if your child is not 6 years, then you are not out of the hood. You know that anything can happen, because just one stroke of an infectious disease and your child is done. And if you are not lucky, off, the child will be gone. But these days, there's great improvement in that. So we've had a lot of reduction in child mortality. Okay. Then we have vaccine preventable diseases. Okay. Now we have vaccines to prevent. Okay. They go in my village, food, the way you even struggle to get food to eat. But these days, even if you are forcing them, they are crying. It's not easy. So we move. So vaccine preventable diseases. Okay, and it is there. That is very true. So, and we have access to safe water and sanitation. Nowadays, it has improved relative to the period that we had a lot of slums. It's better. Malaria prevention and control. That's true. Insecticide treated nets. I wonder, even those who do health promotion on insecticide treated nets, they themselves, they don't sleep in it. It's not easy, but we move. Whatever it is, malaria has been contained. Okay. Prevention and control of HIV/AIDS, and they brought condoms. So come and take. And even until today, people are going to a pharmacy to buy condom. They can't mention their name. You can't mention their name. Even today. Sometimes they will go and buy. When they are going to buy and they see someone there, they can't go again. It's not easy, because when you go and buy the thing, it is used for just one thing. And in African setting here, the tradition and our culture, you see the stigma on it, and then you'll be fine. You just have to go away, go and get some marriage, be to marry, and then give birth, and then go away, and then you are fine. Okay. Tuberculosis control, that is undoubted. Okay. Control of neglected tropical diseases. Yes. Gone are the days that when the whites are coming to Africa, it is trouble for them, because there were some diseases that were prevalent in a general south here. Okay. These were called tropical diseases. Okay. And then once they come, they get into it, and then problem. But these days, these tropical diseases, you hardly even hear of them. Okay, a lot of infectious diseases that were causing a lot of ulcers and all this one. Tobacco control, yeah, somehow, maybe, yeah. Increased awareness and response for improving global road safety. Now road markings are there, road signs are there, everything is there. Even nowadays, the cars that are coming, hey, who actually gives knowledge? Wow, the cars that are coming, the cars that we are used to, the way the GI before the thing will just get into first gear or second gear, and then you are moving. But these days, it's just you just press it, and then the thing has changed for you, and you are going. Hey, wow, it's not easy. Then we have improved preparedness and response to global health threats. That is true. Okay. Yes, yellow fever. Yes, to Ghana, and even from Ghana, you are going out. They require that you go and take the shot, yellow fever vaccine shot. Okay, and then you'll be fine. I know some of my Ghanaian brothers, they will go and see the public health people. Look, this I should do yellow fever, but me, I don't want to do. Just take 100 Ghana, 200 Ghana, give me the card. Let me prove to them that I've taken it. It's not easy. In Africa, everything is possible. Okay. So now we are going to launch ourselves into another concept. But before that, up to this point, any question, suggestion, contribution before we can move on? All right. Now we are going to go into another concept. Ordinarily, if we were to go by the introductory lecture I gave you, lecture 2 ends here. Okay, lecture 2 ends here. But because I want to really take the class through the lecture 10, okay, we have 9 lecture days for public health, 9 lecture across board, 9 lecture days, and my lecture is 10. So I just decided to merge lecture 2 and lecture 3. Okay, so we are done with lecture 2. We are going to lecture 3. But let's consider that as lecture 2. I'll try and then make amends. Okay, now let's go to burden of disease. Burden of disease. The concept of burden. So we are going to look at some of the concepts that is normally used in public health. Disease burden or burden of disease. And mortality rate. We are going to look at. So some of the things that you've been hearing on radio when public health people are assembled and they are trying to give statistical report of the things that have transpired in a year or in a period. Okay, so what is burden of disease? Burden of disease. We are saying that it is a concept that was developed in the 1990s by Harvard School of Public Health, the World Bank, and the World Health Organization. These 3 institutions, they said it is used to describe death and loss of health due to diseases, injuries, and risk factors for all regions of the world. Now, let me explain this. Burden of disease is used to describe the death and loss of health due to diseases, injuries, and risk factors for all regions of the world. So when you take, for example, Ghana, we are going to consider for Ghanaians what is the years, estimated years that we are supposed to live. The estimated years that we are supposed to live. So the first estimation of the burden of disease is that the number of years of life a person loses as a consequence of dying early because of disease. So just as we talked about the other time, last week, you checked and then you realized that the expected year, the estimated years that you are expected to live in Ghana, there's a term for it.
Life expectancy.
Thank you.
Life
expectancy. That is very good. Life expectancy. So when you take that of Ghana, we have our years. I don't know of 2025, but I think 2024 is around 64, 65 or so. Yeah. So the expected life that you are supposed to live in Ghana when you are born in Ghana today is around 60 years, around 65, let's say. So if the number of years that you lived on earth is 40 years, okay, let's say 40 years you were knocked down by a car and then you died, or something happened and then you died, then the burden of disease would be the remaining years that you were supposed to live in Ghana as against the expected life or life expectancy. Okay, so let's see if the life expectancy of Ghana is 65 years, and then someone dies at the age of 50 years. What is the number of years lost? What is the number of years lost? 16 years. So the 16 years are now considered or quantified as the burden of disease. On the other hand, you can also consider burden of disease as what? The number of years of life a person lives with disability caused by disease. Okay, so for example, if the years that you are expected to live in Ghana is 65, and you're at the age of, let's say maybe at the age of 30 years, the person was knocked down by a car and couldn't walk again. The life became miserable and the person was wheelchair bound forever at home. 30 years, and you are supposed to live 65 years, 65 years. So what it means is that from the time that you got the accident or you were involved in the accident, that your life was rendered as it is, to the time that you were expected to live, that 35 years period can also be considered as a burden of disease. Okay, so as the burden of disease. So if you were 30 years, you became bedridden or wheelchair bound forever, you can't do anything, and then you were able to live your life to the fullest, all that period that you were supposed to be productive, that you were unproductive, is considered a burden of disease. Okay, that is another leg of it. The third one is that it can be both. It can be both. Someone would get injured or bedridden at the age of 30 years, but will die at the age of 50 years. In either cases, the person was not able to live up to the expected life he was supposed to live in Ghana. So you are going to add the number of years lost to disease and the number of years the person died before reaching the life expectancy together to get the burden of disease. At this point, have I succeeded in confusing anyone?
No, sir.
Okay.
With the calculation that we are doing.
Each two is
Can you go over? Can you go over?
okay. I'll go over. Each two. That one is a problem. Hey. And now you are having a Okotai, you are in bush looking for a bird to kill and then just bring it home and then come and put it in fire, remove the feathers from the body and then just cut open the chest and put salt inside. And the way that thing was good, a small meat, but the way we were enjoying, it's not easy. So what is the burden of disease? Please give me 1 minute, I'm coming. When we talk about burden of disease, we are saying that for every region in this world, for every country or region or territory, there is a certain age that you are expected to live. There is a certain age that you are expected to live. How they calculate is that they will go to birth and death registry, okay, and birth and death registry, they will consider all the people that died. So when someone dies, life. When someone dies at the age of 100, someone dies at the age of 80, someone dies at the age of 30, then they will take all and then strike the average. When they strike the average, they will get the life expectancy, the number of years that you are supposed to live in that territory or country. Okay, so you go to some people, DSS, you know, the longest living people or country is currently, it's Japan. They are considered as those who have very long life expectancy on the average. Japan. From there you go to, I think, Taiwan or something. I forgot to know. So I mean, every region has its own. And they are saying that these three institutions, Harvard, World Bank, and World Organization, brought a certain concept of a burden of disease. And they are saying that we have to consider the number of years lost by an individual against the years life expectancy of that region. Okay, either the number of years lost to disease or the number of years lost to eventual death. Either of them should be considered in calculating for the burden of disease. So, for example, if in Ghana, our life expectancy is 65 or 66 or 64, Belize is 74, 75. Oh, that's great. That's great. I think Japan is around 80 or 83 or something. Yeah, I think they are topping. And some people too, and something. So let's say Ghana, we are supposed to live at an approximately a life expectancy of 65. Okay, let's take it like that, 65. If you are a healthy person and you die at the age of 50, the number of years that is lost, is considered burden of disease. Okay, so females are expected to live longer than male. It's not easy. It looks like everywhere. Man, with the suffer. It's not easy. And that is how come in Africa here, in Ghana, no, not Africa, in Ghana here, most part of Ghana, the women will say, you have to do the will so that one day when you are not there, me and the children will not suffer. But who told you that I'm going to die before you? So it's like we have all accepted that the man will die before the woman. It's not easy. Do the will first too, so that when you are dead, me and the children will not suffer. How did you know I will die before you? It's not easy. So that is that. So the number of years that you were expected to live in Ghana is 65, but you died at the age of 50. The number of years lost is counted within the burden of disease. On the other hand, you can also count the number of years that the person was unproductive. So someone contracted disease or encounters an accident, a traumatic experience, and the person oh, Mr. Kunedu, You made me laugh. Stakunedo has written something on the message. This one is in Ghana, our life expectancy depends on the food our wives prepare for us. Hey, it's not easy. Yeah, maybe, yeah. So yes, so we are done with one leg. One leg is that the number of years lost. The second one is that the number of years that you were unproductive. If you were in your strength, you would have done something. But at the age of 40 years, you became bedridden, or you became wheelchair bound. Something that makes you just unproductive. Okay, it makes you just unproductive. Okay, I'll come to that. So something that makes you unproductive. Okay. The period that you are unproductive, we have to also factor that within the burden of disease. Okay, within the burden of disease. Okay, so if someone, not me, because me, I will live past that life expectancy. So it's not me. When someone is 35 years, the person is riding his motorcycle, and then gets knocked down by a car in the highway. The person does not really fully recover. The person stays in hospital for about 3 years, is discharged, but is wheelchair bound, can't do anything. We have to feed the person, we have to change the person's diaper and all of them at the age of 35. So the period from when he got the accident that he became unproductive until the person dies, if only the person does not reach or exceed the life expectancy rate, then that is the years of life lost to disease, or years of life lived with disability. So let's say the person stays in wheelchair from 35 years to maybe 50 years. So the years that the person lived with disability is 15 years. That's the first part. The second part is that the person eventually died at the age of 50. The person's age did not reach the life expectancy of that region. So we have to also add the years of life lost. So if you want to really calculate the burden of disease for this person, it is the years of life lived with disability plus the years of life lost. Then you take it away from the life expectancy of that region, and then you are good to go. I don't know if I've been able to clarify.
Hello, please. Can I
Yes.
ask a question?
Yes, Auntie Eunice, your question. Okay.
Okay. So from the explanation you are giving, does it mean that anything that impedes the effectiveness of the person's health is the how do you call it, the burden of disease? Like anything that affects the person's health plus death. Maybe it can be disability, it can be accident, like anything that go in contrary to the person's best. I don't know if I'm getting you right.
Yes. Yes. So if anything at all can render a person to live a life of disability, to live a life of disability, then it can be considered, because the person is living with disability.
Okay, and please let me ask, what about patients who are bedridden that they have to carry them, wear pampers, feed them and everything? What about them? Are they also disabled?
Yes, so
They can't
once
do
you are
anything by themselves.
unproductive, yes, so once the person is unproductive, he can't stand up and go anywhere, go and work. So you know that this concept originated from something.
Okay.
Now they are doing the economics people, they like talking about something called GDP. They like talking about GDP, every day GDP. I just want money in my pocket. You are telling me GDP. Okay, so they've been talking about something called GDP. And that GDP, they consider how many people are contributing to the GDP growth of that nation or country or region against how many are dependent. So this thing helps them to do a lot of calculation. So person who is bedridden for whatever reason can be productive. And when the person is unproductive, they consider if 100 people are working and 200 people are bedridden, then they can factor that in what designing their policies and all of them. Okay, so anything at all that can get an individual to be unproductive for the rest of his life is considered a disease. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Philip.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes. So if I could get you well, so it means the burden of disease is I'm trying to see that it's normally done to look at the impact of disease on the population. Is that right?
Yes.
Oh,
This concept developed from there.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
So Ghana sat down some time ago and said, look, let's do something called health insurance, because I've realized that the GDP, they realized that the GDP of a country, of this country, vis-a-vis the population that really get entangled in a lot of diseases. If nothing is done about it, these people will become a burden. They will become a burden. So as much as possible, if you have a disease condition, you are given a card, go to the hospital and access free healthcare. Okay, so that you don't become bedridden and then it will cost the state more. If you wake up in the morning and you go and take either public transport or your own car, you go and get fuel, the state is getting money. But imagine you don't go anywhere, the state is going to lose. You know that. Maybe you have not taken our attention on that. If the transport system is working, they will go and buy fuel. There are taxes on fuel. The state is getting money. If you don't go, you are not going to buy the fuel. The state is not going to get the tax. So as much as possible, it has to do something to get a healthy population to work for them. Okay, to work for them. So these are some of the reasons why this thing came to place, for them to be able to determine all of this and know what best they can do to get a revived and healthy population. Any more questions, suggestion, contribution? Okay. Now let's move on. Okay, so we are saying that adding together the years of life lost and years of life lived with disability gives a single figure estimate of disease burden called the disability adjusted life year. Let me repeat. When we add the years of life lost and years of life the person lived with disability together, it gives an estimate of a disease burden that is usually called disability adjusted life year. So that same person lived with disability at a point in his or her life and dies still not reaching the life expectancy, the year. Okay, so that person, when we are calculating and then we put this together, we term it disability adjusted life year. So now let's look at, it says the global burden of disease 2004 update suggests that neuropsychiatric conditions are the most important causes of disability in all regions of the world, accounting for around 33% of all years lived with disability among adults aged 15 years and over, but only 2.2% of deaths. So you see, neuropsychiatric conditions. Okay, so in 2000, way back in 2004, when we were calculating life of years lost to disability, it was neuropsychiatric conditions that were contributing to it. And you can understand because our nervous system does a great deal of work. In fact, it's the most complicated of all the systems in the human body. Okay, so we are moving on to some of the terms we have, but I don't know if at this point there's any question, contribution, suggestion. We are moving on to certain terms in this one. Okay, so we are saying that there's a term called yes for more conflicts of this world. Today we hear of this, tomorrow we hear of that. There's something called life expectancy at birth. Life expectancy at birth. This is at birth. It says average number of years that a newborn is expected to live if current mortality rates continue to apply. So let someone check for us what mortality rate, child mortality rate is. No, let's check from our respective countries what child mortality is. So one person checks for Ghana. I think we have Nigerians, we have Belize here, we have Americans, those who are staying on these lands. Let's check child mortality in Ghana, current data, and then we go to other parts. I'm also checking. Okay, so what I have here in Ghana, I did that for Ghana. We are saying that statistically, this is from the data from 2023. It says under 5 mortality rate. Under 5 mortality rate. It stated at 7 per 1,000 live deaths. So what it means is that in 2003, as at 2023, if 1,000 children were born, 37 of them were not able to cross 5 years. They died before the age of 5. Then you move to infant mortality rate. That is under 1 year. So under 1 year, they are saying that when you give birth to 1,000 births, live births, when you give birth to children who stayed, who don't die there, it was expected that 28 of them will not be able to get 1 year before they die. Then you go to neonatal mortality rate. Neonatal is before 28 years, before a child crosses 28 days. Okay, 28 days. So children who were given birth to in 2023, about 21 out of 1,000 live births, so 21 of them were not able to cross 28 days before they died. Okay, so historically, we have made progress. There's a declining rate, although we still sympathize with persons who lost their children, but generally you can understand that it is declining. Okay, it is declining everywhere. Have we been able to check other territories?
Gladys, can you mute yourself, Gladys?
Okay, sir.
Jamaica is 10%. Okay, Mr. Emmanuel, yeah.
Yes, please. I checked for Nigeria, and yes, it's 2023, 2024 estimate. So children under 5 years, mortality rates is 105 deaths per 1,000 live births.
Wow.
So 105. And then around with the infant mortality, which is under 1 year, that is 55 to 60 deaths per 1,000 births.
55 to 60.
Yes, please.
Okay.
And then the neonatal mortality rate, that is children under 28 days. That one is 34 per every 1,000 live births.
Okay.
And for that one, it's even recent.
Yeah. So it means that more children are able to cross the 28 days, and even somehow the 1 year. But to be able to get to 5 years, the figure is huge. 105 per 1,000.
So this is for Togo.
Oh, Togo, okay, Togo.
Okay, so for Togo, in the year 2023, this was the report. Under 5-year mortality rate was 58 deaths per 1,000 live births.
Okay, 28. That's relatively low.
58. So
58.
58. Yes, 58 deaths per 1,000. So Ghana is quite good. And under infant mortality, it's ranged from 36 to 38.
Okay.
Yeah, then neonatal is 23 deaths per 1,000.
Then I think Ghana is safe because
if
under 5 you're getting 37. Even Togo is getting. I mean, so yeah, I think we are making progress. So I think one of my classes, someone checked that of Egypt. So please help me check that of Egypt. In fact, I remember one of the classes, the students made a funny comment that because they have Pharaoh or something. So check for Egypt for me.
Okay, so this is for Egypt. In 2023, the report says that in every 1,000 lives, 18 deaths under 5-year mortality rate.
Okay.
Then for infants, 15 deaths per 1,000 live births.
Okay.
Yeah, and then neonatal, 9 deaths per 1,000 lives.
So it's, I think, I don't know, but I'll try and see which country is the one on top of the game now. I don't know, but it looks like Egypt is relatively low, especially when you consider the neonatal mortality. Yeah, 9 out of 1,000. Then it is really. I remember one of the students saying because they have Pharaoh, so that is that. Okay. So yes. Yes.
I just checked Israel. When immediately you said Pharaoh, I decided to check Israel, and that is impressive. Under 5 years, it's 3 deaths, only 3 per 1,000 births. Yeah,
wow.
3. And then under 1 year, 2.7 death, which means that
Wow.
2 basically. And then the neonatal 2. Wow, that is nice.
That's interesting. Israel has the God of Israel. That's great. In fact, I'm glad to hear this. After that, I'll go and read more on that. You know, traditionally they still hold on to the this one that was given them, and that's impressive. That's impressive. Okay, so
Yeah,
I mean, yes.
yeah, I wanted to say that, especially when you are looking at the contributing factors to that, also Ghanaian society, or let me put it, our society is facing, can also be the contributing factors for we recording this type of rates.
The contributing factors now. Yeah.
For example, proximity, local villages,
That's true.
when a person is, the ladies are pregnant, in terms of even conveying when there's the time for delivery, conveying the person from the house to where the center is also another issue. Some people walk miles before they get to the antenatal, or what they call it, the hospital. That obviously has some implications, and then can result into people, losing their lives and that of the child.
Yeah,
Pharaoh, for instance, that we are looking at, Egypt has developed in one way or the other. I know that when the advanced country, because of these things, are the reasons why their life expectancy in terms of child mortality rate is very low.
yeah. Yes, I get your. You see, when we talk about the life expectancy at birth or the mortality rates, we are looking at births, being able to give birth, and the child you've given birth to did not die there instantly. Okay, so we are looking at live births. Now, yes, there can be contributing factors to the estimate that this one that we are getting, the numbers we are getting, they are contributing factors. Okay, but the contributing factors must be able to go straight and then be able to come out with why a child was able to come to this world successfully. Everything was okay, but was not able to reach 28 days, but was not able to reach 1 year or 5 years. Okay, so that is what we are looking at. We are looking at not necessarily
Okay.
the birth that they
Okay.
died at.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah. And so maybe we have to interrogate for the life expectancy of Japan and Taiwan, why it is up. We can understand from their eating pattern. But for mortality, we have to investigate why Israel are very low. You know that the Bible records that in the time of Moses, even before Moses was born, the testimony the women were giving to the leaders in Egypt that time was that when the Israelites, there's a question. Okay.
Sorry.
Oh. Yeah. So yes, there was. I'll look for that text, the text that talks about. But the women came to give testimony that for the Israelites, as soon as they come and then they are giving birth, then the thing comes, no problem at all. Unlike the Egyptians. Okay, so okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so thank you, European Combat. So that is how it is. Okay, whatever it is now, I think if something is good, you have to learn. You have to learn. Okay, as our principles are naturopath, we learn. We learn. Okay, so 80 per, okay, Central African Republic, 80, Chad, 101. Wow, these are huge numbers. Somalia, 104. Nigeria, well, yes, we're talking about 105. Niger, 114. Then Ghana is a safe place. So Ghana is a safe place to live. Okay. So that is that. So life expectancy at birth. Then we have maternal mortality. Also maternal mortality, there we know. So how many women are able to go to labor and then they are able to give birth and come, whether the child died or not. They are able to get their health intact. So for every 100,000, how many women are able to give birth and come home safe and sound? Okay, that thing too is mortality, maternal mortality. Okay, I don't know. Our time is fast running, so these things we can research on that. Our time is fast running, so please forgive me. So as for under 5, we have done it. We have done infant mortality. We have done neonatal mortality. So then we have institutional mortality. Okay. And institutional mortality, we are saying that is the annual number of female deaths that occur in health facilities in Ghana per 100,000 live births from any cause related to aggravated by pregnancy or its management. Okay, excluding accidental. So between 1990 and 2005, maternal mortality rate reduced from 740 per 1,000 live births in Ghana. So as at 1990, between 1990 and 2005, we're averaging 740 per 100,000 live births. Then we came all the way down to 503 per 100,000 live births, and then 451 per 100,000 live births. Okay, and the World Organization estimating that there was a reduction to 319 per 100,000 live births in 2015. So this is at the institutional level. Okay. What am I? Okay. So we are almost ending. Importance of public health. The 10 essential public health services. Okay. 1 is to monitor the. Good. So yes, someone has brought the text. Hebrew 1:19. It says Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women. They are vigorous and give birth before the midwives arrive. So even before the midwives are arriving, they are head and they are this one. They are off. They have come out of the other. Thank you for the text. Okay, thank you for the text. So you can understand where these things are coming from.
Sir, it is Exodus 1:19, not Hebrews. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't read well. No, I think he gave Exodus.
You said Hebrews.
Oh, where's my message? This one. Okay. Yes, it's Exodus. I think he gave that. But he gave that Hebrew women. Yeah. So Exodus. So the text reads that it is Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you. So it says now we are finally ending. We are landing. The 10 essential public health services. 1 is to monitor the health status of the community. 2, investigate and diagnose health problems and hazards. 3 is to inform and educate people regarding health issues. These things, I think you can read. Yeah, we can read and understand. Okay. Mobilize partnership to solve community problems. That's true. Support policies and plans to achieve health goals. 3. Yes. Enforce laws and regulation to protect health and safety. Yes. Link people to needed personal health services. Yes. Ensure a skilled, competent public health workforce. Evaluate effectiveness, accessibility, and quality of health services. And finally, research and apply innovative solutions. These are the importance of public health. At this point, any question, suggestion, contribution? Okay. So we've been able to come to the end of our second week. Yeah. So anatomy, physiology, pathology, public health and health promotion. 3. I would want us to discuss, is there something we have to do to make our meetings better